Hello and welcome to the Unifund channel. I hope I find you well and in good heart. My name's David Gornall, creator of the Unifund. So, what is the Unifund? The Unifund is a grassroots, decentralised social funding platform set up really to get us, the grassroots, more of a say in how we live our lives, how life's going to be planned out for us. Essentially, to get us a seat at the table. So, I call that, I think, the elevator pitch. So that's the brief. Now, what do I mean by a seat at the table? Well, I think, as we know, the world is factions, industry, religion, all the things that make up this table, that make big decisions for us. I do believe we're somewhere now in the corridor. We're not even in the room now. The grassroots, we've lost touch somehow. The mechanisms that were there years ago don't seem to be there anymore. So, how could we remedy this? Well, if you look on my website, I actually say I'm not sure how we can. I have no plan in that sense. What I do know is we have to come together, all of us around the world, that world. And as you can see, it's a little bit different because I've chopped it. Because I want you to see the world differently. I want you to come at the world differently because that's what it's going to take, right? So the idea of Unifund obviously is to get us together. And primarily, how would we do this? Surely we are all together. We're all sort of in the same world. We all look at things and we're together and we're all religion or not religion or atheists. So we are all, but do we have a common goal? How will we ever achieve to have some kind of commonality between us, even though our differences is our strengths? How are we going to do some kind of get us to somehow get together and break through those barriers? Hands across borders, hands across borders. That's how I see it. Now, so how could we come up with something? This is what I've thought of. This is the core of Unifund. And this is Bank of Unifund. This is my Bank of Unifund. It's a jar, David, with money in it. Yeah, so what does Unifund want you to do? Well, I want you each week, I do it on a Friday, to put up to £1 or an equivalent if you're living in other countries. But it's this small amount, up to and no more than that much money. So each week, we will all be putting money into this fund. And this is the decentralised bit, by the way. It doesn't come more decentralised because it's on your shelf in your home. So you put that in each week and you just do it each week. Now that is a mechanism so we're all kind of doing something at the same time. If we all did it at the same time, I think it may have some kind of power of intent. I think that's what the spiritual people would say. And indeed, religious people who pray. It's intent and it's directing thought and energy towards something. And I feel Unifund might do the same thing. Now, what is so unusual about Unifund is that you keep this money, right? When I was trying to set this up, I could not understand and work out why it would be possible, or is it ethically moral or anything else, that here we are, me in UK, right? And we will be asking people to send us money. We're a very rich country, right? And it didn't seem right to be piling money on top of each other in a bank, paying interest, paying tax to a rich country. It seemed ridiculous. So, much thinking. Why not just save it like this? Yeah. And then when we come up with projects, or somebody comes up in the community a project, we would then put it out to these people. Do you want to contribute? Do you want to dip into this Bank of Unifund and contribute? So that is essentially the absolute core of it. Now, I know people don't. I don't carry money. I'm famous for it. Honestly, I never carry cash. So let me just see if I can get that off. In here, there's all sorts. I don't know if you can see that. There's literally all sorts. Because I use proxies. So if I don't have the cash, there's a paper clip in, there's a bolt in it. What else is there? A washer. So, and then I swap them out when the money comes. And for people in houses who having a pot of money on the shelf, the milkman comes to the window cleaner and it's gone. Just use proxies. The idea is that you do it each week, and I think it's important that all of us do this together. But no one person really has that power of. That's why it's decentralized, because nobody's going to have this power. I'm not going to be sat there with a huge bank account, if it's successful, of course, but having all this money. And then we might not find a project, but we'll keep building it. I mean, the tagline on my line is next million years, because that's what it is. Next million years. It doesn't care how long it takes us. We will build this fund. And if nothing else, I'm telling you now, it will scare the living daylights out of the powers that be if millions of people are building a fund, a huge fund. And the fund will be all over the world. So it might be, if it can get big enough, that each country will have its own big enough ecosystem. We might even buy a bank. What about that? Or we might have enough money to build power stations. And I don't know. I want to see change, right? I'm not an anti-government person, right? I'm not an anarchist or anything like that. I believe that structured rules help all of us to live a more free life. I kind of use the analogy of the roads. You know, you look at, put that down, you look at our road system and you see all the different people driving huge vehicles, small vehicles, fast vehicles. And you think, how the heck do we do it? How the hell do we get all those people to do that? You know, different abilities and to drive a vehicle. And yet, I know we have accidents and tragedies, but our services and our, you know, the police and the AA and people like this, and, you know, they are doing a lot to make it safer. And so, but by giving us these, and we follow them, it gives us that safety that basically, you know, that person's not going to do that. And, you know, we're all going. And I think if you think that in your mind, that's the sort of thing I'm looking at. That's the sort of thing how we should live our lives. We have to have certain sort of rules. So I'm not an anarchist, I'm not anti-government. But we have gone a long way from governments of old. The voting system, the governments that are coming in now. A lot of people talk about capitalism and it's destroying. And I think the power of money has gone to people's heads. I think it's gone. I think we have a health service that's powered by money, an education system powered by money, our law system powered by money. Now, we have a great law system. Right? Most of it's fantastic. The problem with it is you don't get access to it. Most ordinary people do not get access to it unless it's a car claim. Yeah. So it's become, and that will happen to education, is happening to education, and it will happen to health in this country. Now, I'm only talking from a UK point of view. And I think there are certain things in life that are grassroots. I call them analog, right? So this is the analog world we live in. We go shopping, we go to work, we live, breathe, we do all drink, eat. Analog. That's the stuff that we do all the time. Then there's this other world up here, the digital world that we now all live in. Well, this is make-believe. And this is fun to be in for a short while. But this is life. And this has got lost. It's got lost. We've lost our roots about what's real and what's the most important thing in life, which is work, housing, education and health. Those things must be paramount to what we do. We have to get back to that. And if big business, who have done wonderful things, right now, I'm not knocking everything, but I think they're now operating totally without any legislation, without rules. They literally, because it's become digital and the world's become massive. So you buy something now and where's your money going? It could be going anywhere in that world. So does the country benefit from it when it's gone out of the country? Don't know. Anyway, a bit of a waffle, I'm very sorry. But my videos is just me talking. I've tried scripting them and reading them and doing all that. I can't do it. So, what am I asking you to do? What I'm asking you to do is to go to a website. It's only a little website because I want all this to be grown naturally. I want people's ideas. I want people to let this. But the core of it is this simple thing, putting £1 in the thing every week. And that's important. So I want to obviously encourage you to go to the site. You can become a member, which we'd like to, because obviously it'll gauge me on numbers and we could build some kind of community. I did, when I first did it, I had a forum and all this sort of, but you just get hit by people, and thankfully the people who host my site had enough security to see that certain knock them out. And then I thought to myself, well, you know, I don't have time to moderate and all things like that. So, but that will come in the community, and we can build some. And again, we may have enough funds at some point where we can build our own little electronic community, you know, that is geared towards just helping each other out and ideas flowing without, you know, I really want you to come I want you to come as you are, our strength is our differences. I want you to come as you are, but I want you to leave ego at the door and everything. In some ways, I want you to come with a clean piece of paper with what you've got, and then just contribute and just see what we could do with something. Now, I know I've talked about money and not being sat with, but it's going to be quite important, because to get on that table, we're going to need a shed load of money. You do, right? And then, because a lot of the powers that be, they kind of understand money. If you get me drift, that's what impresses them. So this idea that we've got this massive fund, it's all spread out all over the world, right? And the other thing with Unifund, I started it on 1st of January 2023. So that's a maximum amount from £1 a week that you can ever put into a project. No one's going to write checks. Bill Gates and all that can't come in with £2 million and buy the way into Unifund. No, we're all doing the same thing. And that is the secret of Unifund, that it's this small thing. Now, that small thing isn't so simple, because I'm asking you to find a receptacle, reappropriate something, because then we're not buying another product. I've got labels on the website where you can download it and just stick them on. Keep it prominent in your house, so people come around, oh, what's Unifund? You can do it, because what can you might say, well, that's not much. No, you've got to go and get other people, right? You're watching this video, hopefully. You've got to go and sign up some other people, if you will. Get them involved. The kids can put a couple of pence in, you know, everyone can be involved in it. And it's just, without us having dogma and without us having a sort of plan that we've got to rigidly stick to, I don't want that. I think we just have to build this fund. I do see Unifund as the fund builder, right? That is kind of my job, is to get you to put. Then we'll bring other people who are better qualified, who've got great ideas to do these plans and things. Now, who's going to pay for it? At the moment, I pay for the website and I do all this for free. Of course I do. And whether it grows enough and my value is good enough where people will say, well, we could contribute towards it or whatever. Or then YouTube gets big enough that I can earn a bit of income just to pay for. Because obviously, one of the problems is when you've got something small like this, it is cheap, because I haven't got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. But once your channel grows bigger, everyone jumps in on the action because they all want a piece of it, don't they? And whereas I'm not doing this to make a living, believe you me, look at me, you know. I work full time, I'm self-employed, and I make furniture. I'm a woodworker. I'm a woodworker from one of the shires, is what I say to most people. Lancashire, to be precise. So I'm like you, I'm a busy person, right? But I've found doing this every week, I just stop for 1 minute. You know, a couple of minutes. I have to remember to do it, and I do feel like I'm doing something. I'm actually doing something. And the feeling that if there were millions of people or thousands and loads of people doing this each week, you know, it would be truly decentralized as well. Now, I'm quite sure the crypto people are doing wonderful things, but I don't see that. That's not, because it's in an electric machine and they could turn it off tomorrow. And I can't understand, most of it's done in China and it's not even legal to do it in China. So I'm sorry, but I think we have to be careful not to be too anti everything. I'm not an anti. Banks have done some terrible things. And really what the problem is, they're just not operating under the guidelines and the regulations. And the regulators are coming in and they're probably, well, I'm not going to say that because that's wrong, but they're under pressure not to ripple the waters. I just think we know for a fact because we've seen what they've done. They've gone into banks and they've gone, oh, they're fine, everything's great. And I won't mention names because, it's something I've read or I've seen. I don't actually know because I haven't done the investigating myself. So, let's not be too critical. So, what do I want you to do? I want you to join your Unifund. I want you to get one of the jar. It's nice to have a jar because you can see it rather than a box. I think that was a candle, one of those candle things. Download some labels, stick them on, nice and simple, analog, right? And this is about doing something real, And then if we do have something at the point where we want to fund it, we'll put out for it, and then you just convert this into your bank and send it through somewhere, and that's what you would do. And I think I really am passionate. I think we could really make some changes, but we also, I know people say be positive. I'm a believer in being positive and negative. That's how the light grows, because you can't just connect one way. It's not enough. And, life can be quite difficult at times for all of us. But I think we can really make some change. I really do. And particularly older people out there, people like me, a bit older, we have got time to do things and we can make a difference. We can. I'm a big fan of letting the youngsters have fun. They should be living life to the max. And it does, I know they get involved in things and that's a good thing, they're passionate about things. But we have children now who are scared of what's happening in the world. And it's appalling that we are filling children with the idea that the whole world's going to burn up in 10 years' time. We're all going to die and starve. We're not, right? It's not going to happen. Yes, there is an issue with climate change. There are all issues. And sometimes you have to scare people into doing things. But we all know what they're doing is kind of wrong. It's greenwashing, all of it. They're building more roads. We're driving more cars. They're getting bigger and faster. That's another issue. Let's not go on about that. But, we need to protect our youngsters and give them, their world's coming and we need to leave it. And that's another thing. Because, again, I will go on because I'll make other videos, hopefully. I will get better, I hope, and then you might enjoy them a little bit more. But I think if we can just do this one thing to get the ball rolling, to get started, get ideas flowing. So, with the video, like and subscribe, obviously. Leave comments if you can, and share it with people. Just share it, and let us see what can happen. Let's see what we can actually do. We have a beautiful world that is troubled, and we all know that some people, even now, we know in Europe, there is horrific things happening. And we've, just come through something that was terrible. And that's the first thing we could do is not have a party. Oh, no. We're going to have a war, right? We're going to start destroying this. And the rest of us, it's not enough just to send a couple of quid. It's not. We have to do something. And we have to, let's see what we can do. Join Unifund. Do it now. And drop me a line, get in touch with me, go on the website, get yourself a thing. You can backdate it back to the beginning of the year. But just remember, it's that small amount. And I think we can make, change for change, you might say. I do recall that a motoring correspondent on the TV in Great Britain, we know him. He's known all around the world. And he once said on TV that when he gets change, he chucks it on the floor. Right? Chucks it on the floor. And I was chatting to someone about this. I thought it was appalling. I'm not knocking the guy, don't get me wrong. Lots of people probably do. And this person said to me, near us where the chippy is, where the kids at school come and they buy the chips at dinner time, the floor is outside's covered in change and the bin. And I couldn't believe it, so I went to have a look, and it was. It was all over the floor. All over the floor. They're throwing money away. Now, right, we've come to something when that is the answer to it. Believe you me. All right, bless them, they're only young. They're young and they don't quite. Because mum and dad give them the money, probably. Boy, you're in for a shock. But just the concept that we're doing that, just the idea that why and where's it come from that you would throw money like that when you could have... I wouldn't mind, but I bet the chippy had a coin thing for a charity or something, which is bizarre. Anyway, going on. Okay, join Unifund. Do it now. See you next time.